live?
We are live.
Hi, I'm Mike Scott, the Eagan Fire Chief. This is Darren Bramwell. He's our Fire Marshal and Deputy Fire Chief. Today we're going to talk to you about recreational fires. It's one of the most frequently asked questions that we get at the fire department. And so we thought we'd kind of walk through, first of all, where you can burn and then what you can burn. So Darren, you want to kind of talk about if you're going to have a fire pit, what are the rules?
Sure. If you're going to construct a fire pit at your home, it's good to check the rules prior to doing that. So just real quick, some of the first rules are you need to make sure you're a minimum of 25 feet away from the house, the shed, a deck, a fence, anything like that. So that's 25 feet away from combustibles. And you need to be a minimum of 10 feet away from your lot line. So you can see I have a measuring wheel here. I came a little bit early and we measured over to the lot line here and we're at about 17 feet. So make sure you check that at your home too, that you're not right on your neighbor's lot line. So that's some of the rules you need for how many feet away from everything, and those are really important, especially the 25 feet away from combustibles.
Darren, what about, so that's for a permanent fire pit like the one that we have here today, but what about those little portable ones that you can buy at Home Depot or any of the stores?
Yep, the portable ones fall under the same rules, and what I like to add to that is some people I've actually seen have those on their deck. But so it falls under the same rules where your deck's combustible, you definitely can't have them up there. That's really dangerous. So even the portable ones fall under the same set of rules as the permanent ones.
And with the portable ones, while we're on it, what do you do with those once you're done with them? We've had a couple fires from people dumping them in there.
Yeah, it's it's deceiving with the ashes and things like that, where you're probably going to want to let it set out for quite a few days and even water it down, because we've ran into fires that in people's garages or on the side of their garage where it was a day later or something and they can actually pick up the coals from the fire and thought, well, we're good, and dump it in their garbage can. Well, a few of them might still be burning on the inside, and it started a fire in their home.
So Darren, if I have a concrete or rock patio next to my house, can I burn there?
As long as you still meet the clearances, but unless your patio's massive, it's probably going to be a no. We need you to stay away from the house and combustibles.
So that was open fire pits like this, or the portable one, but some people, to get on Joanna's question, some people actually build outdoor fireplaces.
Yeah,
those are a little bit different.
Yeah, they are. They're getting really popular, so we did address that a few years ago with the building inspections department. So we let you get a little bit closer to the house with an outdoor fireplace because it's constructed, it's a little more controlled. You have to have a spark arrestor on the top, and you do actually have to get a building permit for that because it needs footings, and that is within 15 feet of your home. So it's a lot closer, but there's a lot of other rules that you need to meet, and like I said, it's more of a controlled fire versus the open fire pit fires. So any questions, you can always call the fire department or the building inspections department if you want to build an outdoor fireplace.
So we're going to talk about what we can burn in a minute. We talked about where we can burn. Before we start the fire though, Darren, what's important to have as far as extinguishing agents?
Yep, you always want to have, what we say, you need to either bring your garden hose and have it in the general area, or like Mike has here, we have a fire extinguisher handy, or a bucket of water. Anything, you need something to extinguish it quick in case an emergency does happen.
And today is a beautiful day, but if it was windy, do you remember the wind conditions?
Anything over 15 miles an hour, we ask that you do not have a fire, so then we don't have the sparks and things like that traveling away from your property.
What's one of the common complaints? So if I'm having a fire, even if it's legal here, what's one of the common things that people complain about?
Well, depending on weather conditions, we can always have, today would be a pretty nice day, but if it's a little bit humid, or depending on the atmosphere, you can still be having a legal recreational fire in Eagan, but it may be traveling right to your neighbor's house and they have open windows and it's a beautiful night. So it may be bothering them, and you still would have to put it out then if we received a call and somebody complained.
Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about what we can burn. I've got some birch wood here ready, and I'm just going to ignite the kindling wood I have.
Yep.
And then we'll go through a little bit about what can be burnt and what can't be burnt. So again, I'm just starting out with some clean, dry wood that's from a tree that I took down. But I'm assuming that I can take my tax records that I shredded and throw those on there?
No, we ask that you don't do that. If somebody were to use a small, very small amount of paper with the kindling to start a fire, that can be okay, but you're not going to be dumping a lot of paper and records and cardboard on there. That you can't do.
So even with some cardboard boxes, if somebody's getting ready to move,
No, nope, you can't do that. And a lot of the rules that we have are because Eagan's so grown in now, and our phone rings off the hook when everybody's burning things they shouldn't and smokes out the neighborhood. And we'll probably get to that too when we start talking about what you can and can't burn as far as wood-wise too.
So is that more because of the smoke or the sparks or
It's more of the smoke.
debris?
Yep, it's more of the smoke. I think we've all had it where you come out of your house on a Saturday evening and boy, you can smell somebody's really burning something they probably shouldn't be in your neighborhood. Us and PD, we get so many calls where the smoke is offensive to your neighbors. We're also close here in Eagan. It's no longer a rural community that you really have to follow the rules, and a lot of the rules are based on safety and hopefully not bothering your neighbors.
so this nice clean dry wood like this for kindling is okay?
That's perfect. That's what we ask people to start it with. It's nice and safe. It's not obnoxious smoke.
And what about, I've got some extra pieces of wood from my garage from a project I was working on. That's clean and dry. I can burn
Yeah,
that.
but that's like that. That's construction or particle board. We have a lot of people that think it's okay to burn their 2x4s. They had a little construction project to get rid of that stuff. That you cannot burn that in Eagan. The only thing we say you can burn is clean, dry wood like we are now. This one's the best example of clean, dry wood that's split. I pretty much tell people if you have an indoor fireplace, that's exactly what we ask you to burn in your outdoor fireplace. We have so many people that'll just put piles of green branches and stumps that aren't split, and they just smolder and smoke up the neighborhood, and that's what gets offensive to people.
So
Hey Darren, we have a question.
Yes.
Wondering about treated wood or shingles?
Absolutely not. So it has to be clean, dry, regular wood, not branches, not green, no treated wood. There's chemicals in that. That needs to go to the landfill.
how about I just took down some buckthorn. Can I burn that?
Absolutely not either. That would smoke the neighborhood out. That's probably our number one call is people burning yard debris. Leaves, branches, twigs, large branches. And they think that's the best way to get rid of it and dispose of it, but you can't do that.
What if it's been laying, that branch, if I keep that around for a year or two and it's all dried out?
The best you could do with a branch like that would be snap it in small pieces and use it for kindling.
So really, Darren, I mean, and we get a lot of complaints. You can see that I'm standing in the smoke and it's a
Yeah.
clean fire. But really, the only thing you should be burning is firewood.
Yep,
You can't burn any kind of yard debris. You can't burn any kind of construction debris
correct.
or anything that came off your house. So it's really just wood from a tree.
Yep. And people kind of forget, and when they call me, I have a lot of conversations throughout the year, and I always tell people, you got to remember these are our recreational fire rules. And to me, a recreational fire is me and my family or my friends sitting around it and enjoying it, not lighting my yard debris to get rid of it and then walking away in the garage to do a project on my car. It has to be attended by an adult. And that's no longer a rec fire when you're just burning to get rid of things, and that's what upsets our neighbors in the neighborhood.
So what should they do for their yard waste?
Yard waste, there's a site here in Eagan off Yankee that you can haul your yard waste, or maybe talk to your trash hauler, and you can get a recycling bin where you can put your grass, branches, leaves in the fall, things like that, and they'll be hauled away.
I notice this homeowner, actually it's hard to see, but he just composts his yard.
Yep, composting is a great idea too if you have the ability to do it. And this is a great yard here with a little bit wooded, and you can compost right on your own property.
So the stuff that we're burning now, again, is okay because I got some small branches in there that we're using to get it going. If we got this going and we're going to stay here tonight with our family and roast some marshmallows or whatever, then we'd get the bigger wood
Yeah,
going.
you can get the bigger wood going, and then it comes into size-wise. Our rules are 3 by 3 by 3. So we're talking 3 foot by 3 foot, and then no taller than 3 foot. We don't like to see the roaring 10-foot fires that people get going. That's when it's a safety issue.
And like anything, this is kind of a competing interest. So we got people that like to have fires, but we also have a lot of people in the community that don't like the smell or are allergic to the smoke. So that's why we do get a lot of complaints about rec fires. So that's why we try to keep it as clean as possible, because you can see now that this is going and the kindling wood burnt off, there's not nearly as much smoke. But if I put one of those other things in that Darren told me I couldn't burn, I'm going to get a lot more smoke. You know, and the treated lumber, especially, or shingles, that can be toxic smoke. That's
Yep.
bad stuff to be breathing in. When we go into a house fire, we're wearing our masks with our SCBA tanks because we don't want to breathe that stuff. It's got carcinogens that are cancer causing.
Yep.
So you definitely don't want to throw that on a fire and have people breathing that in. So what other questions, ladies?
So can I only have my fire in my backyard, or can I have one in the front yard, maybe on my driveway or somewhere?
That in our rec fire rules, it's not written in there, but I believe with city ordinance, Mary Granley might have a better answer to that. But I know like a portable fire pit, people may have it out. Some people don't have a backyard in a townhome and things like that. I understand if you can still meet the clearances, get far enough away from your house. I've seen people have it like in the middle of their driveway. They're far enough away from their garage at their townhome, and they're not out in the street. You can't be in the city street or even a private street. You can't be there. So it's kind of a little bit of a gray area there. Go ahead and give us a call if you ever got questions, and we'll do the best we can to help you out.
And I think from a fire perspective, we're fine with it as long as it meets the clearance. And again, like
Yep.
Darren said, we're not the code enforcement, but I believe it'd be okay. We do see it pretty frequently where they're in the front yard, but just meet that 25 feet of clearance and then just leave it cool off or wet it down. Don't throw it in your trash can, because I can think of a number of fires, either from charcoal barbecues or from the portable fire pits that people dumped into their plastic trash cans next to their vinyl siding on their house and started their house on fire in the middle of the night. And it takes several hours for that to sit and get ready to go.
So when I'm ready to go in for the night, or I'm done,
Yep.
what's the best way for me to put it out?
The best way to put it out then would use your bucket of water or your garden hose that you already have previously ran out here and wet it down. That way if the wind picks up there in the middle of the night, or because then it's unattended, otherwise it could be smoldering in the morning and really bother your neighbors, and that's when it starts smoking even more. So a lot of our rules are just we really want everybody to have fun, and I love having recreational fires in my backyard and sitting out with friends and enjoying it, but we have to respect our neighbors too.
And what's the best way for me to know that it's not smoldering underneath?
We'll keep it wet down, and if you did want to think you need to dispose of it, you can stir it and make sure you don't get any smoke or heat off of it, and I'd wet it down again and wait another day just to be safe. There's really no way unless you took apart every little chunk of wood, and that's not realistic. So we just say, if you think it's okay, maybe wait another day or two and then get rid of it.
I think the other thing to think about with Eagan is some cities, like in Grove Heights, they require you to have a permit to have a rec fire and then call in. That's not a requirement in Eagan at this time. So we do get a lot of people calling in on a Saturday and wanting to let us know they're going to burn. And again, it's just a rec fire that they can have, but they don't have to do that in Eagan. As long as you're meeting all the requirements that we've
Yep.
talked about, there's no permit or nobody you have to call. The only other time that there'd be additional restrictions if it's extremely dry, and we follow the Minnesota DNR's website. If it's extreme fire conditions in Eagan, we don't allow any fires whatsoever. And that's pretty rare, but it happened a couple years ago
Yep.
in the spring.
When
Our
it's
fire that
extreme.
wasn't smoky is now getting smoky. It's keeping the mosquitoes away, but
So that leads to my next question. If I'm one of those people who, I like the sight of a fire, but I can't deal with the smell, and my neighbor is always burning in their backyard, what's the best way for me to report that? I hate to be nasty to my neighbor, but
Right. You can stay if you want to call. There's no non-emergency numbers anymore. If it's during business hours, you can call our main number at the Eagan Fire Department. Or if it's in the evening or a weekend, a lot of people don't like to do it, but you call 911 and let them know this is a non-emergency, but I have a citizen complaint. You can remain anonymous, and a police officer or a fire officer will respond out and talk to them and let them know either you can't burn this, or hey, you're following the rules, but unfortunately tonight the smoke's staying really low, and a lot of neighbors have the windows open. It's a nice cool night, and it's bothering a lot of people, and we're going to ask you to put it out.
we've also had people that have just gone and talked to their neighbors and said, I know you like to burn a lot, but unfortunately I'm allergic to the smoke.
Right.
And some people are pretty decent about that once they know it.
Yep.
There's other ways. I remember one neighbor that was burning a lot, liked the fire, liked the look of the fire, and one of the neighbors didn't like the smoke, and he actually went out and bought a gas fireplace. It gave him kind of the look, but much safer and no smoke.
Yep.
So good resolution.
I have a complimentary question. How close can I have my grill to my house, to my siding?
In single-family homes, we do not have a rule on that. In multifamily homes, it cannot be up on a deck or a patio. It needs to be 15 feet away from the building. So we only have rules for the multifamily where a mistake or something malfunctioning is going to affect multiple families and people. But still, it's a good thing at your own home to stay a good 10 feet away, because I've seen many houses that we went to where the sidings melted a little bit because they had their grill way too close. So it's good to be safe, whether it's a single family home or our strict rules jump in when it's multifamily like apartments.
And we've had a couple fires in the last 5 years that have been started from grills being too close to the house. Whether
Yep.
it's a gas grill or a charcoal grill, they can both get too hot, especially when you have vinyl siding. Vinyl siding will melt and then eventually start on fire.
Yep.
So yeah, I would definitely recommend that 10 to 15 feet away.
Yep.
So does that mean if it's raining out but I still want to barbecue for the family, can I pull my grill inside my garage?
No, we've actually had people that pulled it in and it was a charcoal grill that gives off carbon monoxide. You could actually fill your garage and your house full of very dangerous carbon monoxide at high levels and hurt yourself or your family. So definitely, if it's a rainy day, you might want to order a pizza.
And definitely, not only the carbon monoxide, but just you don't want to be cooking inside your garage like that.
Yep.
We've had a number of fires again
We have.
that have started from somebody cooking inside their garage in a non-approved cook area, whether it's a barbecue or a hot plate or whatever, or the turkey fryers.
Okay. I think we're good. I think you've answered
you.
all our questions.
Great, thanks.
Have a great day.
Thank you.